NCERT Class 6, Chapter 10. Marutasamy and Iron Play. Marutasamy was together. His brother had propelled his wheelchair along the dusty, stony path past the Gautam Nagar and up the metal ramp. It had been tough, but now he was here in front of the famous Iron Play. It was an unforgettable experience. Ancient Indian metallurgists made major contribution to the metallurgical history of the world. Metallurgical excavation have shown that the Harappans were the master craftsmen and had knowledge of the copper metallurgy. They have manufactured the bronze by mixing the copper and the tin. While the Harappans belong to the Bronze Age, their successors belong to the Iron Age. Indians produce highly advanced type of iron forged iron, water iron, and wrought iron, and the cast iron. The iron player at Marauli, Delhi is a remarkable example of the skill of Indian craftsperson. It is made of iron 7.2 meter high and a weight of over 3 tons. It was made about 1,000 years ago. We know that the date because there is an inscription on the pillar mentioning a ruler named Chandra who probably belonged to the Gupta dynasty. What is amazing is the fact that the pillar has not rested through the centuries. Building in brick and the stone. The skills of a craftsperson are also apparent in the buildings that are surfaces as stupas, and the word stupa means a mound. While there are several kinds of stupas, round and tall, big and small, there are certain common features. Generally, there is a small place at the center of the heart of the stupa. This may contain the bodily remains such as the teeth, bones, or the ashes, or the Buddha, or is a follower of the thing they use, as well as the precious stones and the coins. This box, known as the relic casket, was covered with earth. Later, a layer of mud brick or the baked brick was added on top, and then the dome-like structure was sometimes covered with a carved stone slab. Often a path called a pradakshina path was laid around the stupa. This was surrounded with a railing. Entrance to that path was through gateways. Devotees walk around the stupa in a clockwise direction. As a mark of devotion, both railings and gateways were often decorated with sculpture. Amravati on map 787, this was a place where magnificent stupa once existed. Many of the stone carvings for decorating the stupa were made about 2000 years ago. Other buildings were hollowed out of a rock to make artificial caves. Some of these were very elaborately decorated with sculptures and the painted walls. Some of the earliest Hindu temples were also built at the time. Deities such as the Vishnu, Shiva and Durga were worshipped in these shrines. Vishnu, some of the earliest Hindu temples. Magnificent stupa once existed. Many of the stone carvings for decorating the stupa were made about 2000 years ago. Other buildings were hollowed out of the rock to make artificial caves. Some of these were very elaborately decorated with sculptures and the painted wall. Some of the earliest Hindu temples were also built at this time. Deities such as Vishnu and the Shiva and Durga were worshipped during the sea. This is the great stupa at Sachi, Madhya Pradesh. Stupas like this were built over several centuries, while the brick mortar one probably dates much to the time of Ashoka. The railings and gate first were later during the time of the later rulers. Sculpture from Amravati. Okay, next time. This is it is an early temple at Bhitargaon in Uttar Pradesh. This was built around 1500 years ago and was made of baked brick and stone. This is a monolithic एक पहाड़ को काट के बनाया गया monolithic temple at Mahabalipuram. Each of these was covered with a huge single piece of stone. That is why they are known as monolith. While brick structures are built up adding layers of bricks from the bottom upward. In this case, the stone cutters had to work from top downward. This is the right Durga temple at Ahol. Built around the 1400 year. Ahol में Durga temple है. Okay, यहाँ पे content तो पढ़ा ही नहीं. Okay, most important part of the temple was the room known as the Garbhagriha, where the image of the chief deity was placed. It was here and the priest performed the religious ritual, and devotees offered worship to the deity. Often as the Bhitargaon tower known as the Shikhara was built on the top of a Garbhagriha. Shikhar. To mark this out at a sacred place, building Shikhar required careful planning. Most temples also had a space known as Mandap. It was a hall where people could assemble. Find Mahabalipuram and Ahol. Some of the finest stone temples were built in these towns. Mahabalipuram, Ahol. Some of these are shown below. Ahol. How were stupas and temples built? There were several stages in building a stupa or a temple. Usually king or queen decided to build these as it was an expensive affair. First, good quality a stone had to be found, quarried and transported to the place where they was often carefully chosen for the new building. Here these rough blocks of stone had to be shaped, carved into the pillar and panel for wall, floor and ceiling, and then these had to be placed in precisely the right position. A Jain monastery from Odisha में एक जैन monastery है. अरे बाप रे. This two-story building was carved out of the rock surface. Notice the entrance to the room. Jain monks lived here, meditated in this room. In what ways is the cave so different? A sculpture from the National Museum, New Delhi. King and the queen probably spent money from their treasury to pay the craftsperson who worked to build this splendid structure. Besides, when devotees came to visit the temple or the stupa, they often brought the gift which were used to decorate the building. For example, an association of ivory workers were paid for one of the beautiful gateways at the Sanchi. Among the other who paid for decoration were the merchant, the farmer, the garland maker, the perfumers, smith, and hundreds of men and women who are known for only by their names, which were inscribed on the pillars, railing, and the walls. So when you get a chance to visit any of these buildings, remember how several thousands of people probably worked to construct and decorate them. This is a painting by Ajanta on map 7. This is a place where the several caves were hollowed out of the hills over centuries. Most of the years were monasteries for the Buddhist monk. Ajanta की बात करें, Ajanta जनता के लिए बुद्धिस्ट ने काम किया. And some of the were decorated with painting. Here are some examples. The caves are dark inside most of these paintings, but in light or torches, the colors which are vivid even after 1500 were made of plant and plant and minerals. The artisan who created these splendid works of art remains unknown. It's a painting from Ajanta. Now this is okay. The world of the books. Some of the best known epics were written during this period. Epics are grand, long composition about heroic men and women, include the stories about the gods of female Tamil. Shilapadikram was composed by the poet named Ilango. एक तमिल एपिक है जिसका नाम है शिलापदिक्रम, जिसने बनाया था इलांगो अराउंड 1800 ईयर्स अगो. इट इज द स्टोरी ऑफ अ मर्चेंट नेम कोवलम हु लिव्ड इन पुहार. इट इज द शिलापदिक्रम तमिल एपिक. इलांगो ने लिखी थी स्टोरी ऑफ द मर्चेंट नेम कोवलन who lived in Puhar and fell in love with a courtesan named Madhavi, neglected his wife Kannagi. Later he and Kannagi left Puhar and went to Madurai. It is a story of a merchant जिसका नाम था कोवलन. कोवलन कहाँ पे रहते थे? पुहार में. He fell in love with a courtesan named Madhavi. Courtesan. Neglecting his wife Kannagi. Later he and Kannagi left Puhar and went to Madurai, where he was wrongly accused of theft by the court jeweler of the Pandya king. The king sentenced Kovalan to death. Kannagi, who still loved him, was full of grief and anger at this injustice and destroyed the entire city of Madurai. A description for Shilapadikram. O witness of my grief, Kannagi's grief. O witness of my grief, you cannot console me. Is it right that your body, fairer than pure gold, lies unwashed here in the dust? It is just that in the red glow of the twilight, your handsome chest framed with the wreath lies thrown down on the bare earth, while I remain alone, helpless and abandoned to despair. Is there no God? Is there no God in this country? Can there be a God in a land where the sword of the king is used for the murder of the innocent strangers? Is there no God? No God. Another Tamil जिसका नाम है, एक शिलापदिक्रम पढ़ा हमने पढ़ा, दूसरा है मनी मेकलाई, was composed by सत्यनार. इलांगो. शिलापदिक्रम इलांगो और मनी मेकलाई by सत्यनार. Around 1400 years ago, this is the story of a daughter of Kovalan and Madhavi. Daughter of Kovalan and Madhavi. मर्चेंट थे कोवलन, पुहार में रहते थे, और वो किसके साथ प्यार करने लगे? माधवी. उनकी वाइफ का नाम क्या था? कन्नागी. उसके बाद फिर हमने एक और पढ़ी जिसका नाम था मनी मेकलाई. सत्यनार ने लिखी थी. इसमें कोवलन की डॉटर ऑफ कोवलन एंड माधवी. इस स्टोरी ऑफ डॉटर ऑफ कोवलन एंड माधवी. These beautiful compositions were lost to scholars for many centuries. Yet till the manuscript were discovered about 100 years ago. Other writers such as Kalidasa wrote in Sanskrit. This is a verse from Meghdut. Here is a verse from Kalidasa's best-known poem Meghdut, in which a monsoon cloud is imagined to be a messenger between the lovers who are separated from one another. See how the poet describes the breeze that will carry the cloud northward. A cool breeze, delightful as it is touched with the fragrance of the earth, swollen by your showers, inhaled deeply by the elephant and causing the wild figs to ripen, while will blow gently as you say. Recording and preserving the old stories. A number of the Hindu religious stories that were in circulation earlier were written down around the same time. These include the Purana. The Purana literally means old. The Purana contains the stories about the god and goddess such as Vishnu, Shiva, Durga, Parvati. They also contain the details on how they were also built. Besides, there are accounts about the creation of the world and about king. The Puranas were written in simple Sanskrit words and were meant to be heard by everybody. They were probably recited in temples by the priests, and people came to listen to them through Sanskrit. But Mahabharata and Ramayana had been popular for very long. Some of you may be familiar with these stories. The Mahabharata is about a war fought between the Kauravas and the Pandavas, who were the cousin. And this was a war to gain control of the throne of the Kurus and the capital Mahastinapur. The story itself was an old one, but was written down in the form in which we know it today. About 1500 years ago, both the Puranas and the Mahabharata are supposed to have been compiled by the Vyasa. The Bhagavad Gita, which you learnt in the chapter 8, was also included in Mahabharata. Ramayana is about Rama, a prince of Kosala, who was sent into exile. His wife Sita was abducted by the king of Lanka named Ravan, and the Rama had to fight a battle to get her back. He won and returned to Ayodhya and the capital of Kosala after his victory. Like the Mahabharata, this was an old story that was not written down. Valmiki is recognized as the author of the Sanskrit Ramayana. There are several versions of the Mahabharata and Ramayana popular among the people in different parts of the India. Ordinary people also told stories and composed poems, and the songs sang and danced, performed plays. Some of these are preserved in the collection of the stories such as Jatakas and the Panchtantra, which were written down during this time. Stories from the Jatakas were often shown on the railings or the stupas and in paintings in places such as Ajanta. Stories from the Jataka were often shown in the railings of the stupas and in painting and places such as Ajanta. उसके बाद फिर हम बात करते हैं स्टोरी ऑफ द मंकी किंग. Once upon a time there was a great monkey king who lived in the bank of Ganga in the Himalayas with 80,000 villagers. They lived fed on the fruit of the special mango tree which was so sweet. Such exquisite mangoes did not grow on the plain. One day a ripe mango fell into the river, floated all the way to Varanasi. There the king of the city who was bathing in the river found it and was amazed when he reached it. He asked the forester of Kenya whether they could find the tree for him, and they led him all the way to the Himalayas. There the king and his courtiers had their fill of mangoes. At night the king discovered that the monkeys were also feasting on the fruit and decided to kill them. However, the king or the monkeys worshipped out a worked a plan to save his follower. He broke off the branches of the mango tree and tied them to form a bridge across the river and held on to one end till all his followers crossed over. Exhausted with the effort, he fell down and lay dying. The human king saw what had happened and tried it unsuccessfully to revive the monkey. When he did, the king mourned his death and paid him full respect. This story is shown on a piece of a sculpture found from a stupa at Bharut in central India. Can you identify which part of the story is shown in the sculpture? Writing book on the scientist was also the time when Aryabhat, a mathematician astronomer, wrote a book on Sanskrit known as the Aryabhatiya. He said that the day and night were caused by the rotation of the Earth on its axis. Even though he imagined the sun is rising and setting every day, he developed a scientific explanation for eclipse as well. He also found a way of calculating the circumference of the circle, which is as nearly accurate as the formula we use today. Varamir Brahmagupta and Bhaskaracharya, mathematician and astronomers who made the general discovery. फिर हम लोग बात करते हैं जीरो की. By the numerous had been used earlier mathematicians in India now invented a special symbol for zero. This system of counting was adopted by Arabs and then spread to Europe. It continues to be in the use throughout the world. The humans used a system of counting without using zeros. Try and find out more about it. Ayurveda is a well-known system of health science that was developed in ancient India. The two famous practitioners of Ayurveda in India are Charak, 1st and 2nd century CE में, Sushruत 4th century. पहले चरक आए थे, 1st से 2nd, फिर सुश्रुत 4th century. Charak Samhita written by Charak is remarkable book on medicine in strategized Sushruत Samhita Sushruta spread about the elaborate surgical procedure. Okay, beginning of the stupa. तो 2300 पहले अमरावती 2000 कालिदासा 1600 years ago. Iron Pillar temple at Bitagaon temple at Ajanta. Iron Pillar temple at Bitagaon Ajanta Aryabhat Durga temple. Okay, एक बार देख लेते हैं हम. Throughout the book, the approximate date. For instance, for the Paleolithic period, dates may be mentioned in terms of millions of years ago. And by year, the beginning of the farming and the herding at Mehergarh, 6000 BC. The Harappan site flourished between 2027 to 1900 BC. Rigveda composed in 1500 BC. Mahajanpan city developed in the Ganga Valley and new ideas associated with the Upanishad, Jainism and Buddhism in 500 BC. Alexander invaded the north with 327 to 325 BC. Chandragupta Maurya began again 321 BC. Ashoka ruled about 272 से 231 या 272 268 से लेकर 231 BC. कंपोजिशन ऑफ द संगम ने 300 BCE से 300 CE. द रीन ऑफ द कनिष्क दैट इज 78 से 100 CE. एस्टैब्लिशमेंट ऑफ द एम्पायर गुप्ता एम्पायर 320 CE. कंपैरिजन जैन टेक्स्ट एट द काउंसिल ऑफ द वल्लभी 521 या 512 CE. रूलर ऑफ हर्षवर्धन 600 से 647 CE. ह्वेनसांग केम टू इंडिया इन 630 इन्हीं के टाइम पे आए थे. 643 CE. रूल ऑफ पुलकेशन टू 609 से 642. Okay, in some cases, for example, the read from where Ashoka began to rule, you might find more to invent to it. Okay, ये मैप देख लेते हैं एक बार. ये लद्दाख है, श्रीनगर है, जम्मू कश्मीर, हिमाचल प्रदेश शिमला, ये पाकिस्तान चंडीगढ़, देहरादून चाइना, हरियाणा दिल्ली, उत्तर प्रदेश लखनऊ, जयपुर राजस्थान, गुजरात गांधीनगर, भोपाल. गांधीनगर एकदम ही छूटते हुए जा रहा है. दिस इज भोपाल. फिर रांची भी इधर है. वेस्ट बंगाल और कोलकाता नीचे है. छत्तीसगढ़ का रायपुर भी नीचे है. अगरतला से पास हुआ. एजावल थोड़ा सा ऊपर है. मिजोरम एजावल ऊपर है. त्रिपुरा का अगरतला भी ऊपर है. ओके, उड़ीसा भुवनेश्वर, रायपुर, छत्तीसगढ़ का रायपुर, महाराष्ट्र दादरा इंग्लिश, सिलवासा, दमन एंड दीव. ये मैप है इंडिया का. वंदेपुरम तमिलनाडु. उसके बाद फिर हम लोग देखते हैं कुछ नोट्स हैं. ओके, कंप्लीट. थैंक यू सो मच.